Welcome back to the Love on Top podcast, another episode where we talk about love, relationships, marriage, family, and everything in between. As always, I'm your host, Ian. Got my beautiful co-host with me, my wife, my partner, my better half, as some would say. It's been a little bit. How you doing today?
Good.
Feeling good?
Yeah. Happy to be back.
Same. Finally got the girls to bed. Finally got to sit down and, really talk to each other. And I was thinking about it. That's actually like the blessing, right? Is like, obviously we're blessed enough to be able to create the space to record at home. But I do wish we were able to kind of separate that and put the girls to bed and then just go somewhere else and kind of lock in, because we're still always on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even when we're not on, essentially. But I'm actually excited about today's topic. I kind of want to jump into it.
So I don't even know what the topic is.
Yeah, so I was watching a video, right? I seen a video, TikTok, doom scrolling again. And I came across a video where this girl, I don't know if she was trolling or if she was serious, but she said that her friend was upset with her. She said that her friend was upset with her because she didn't attend her daughter's birthday party. And her reasoning was that she wasn't a kid person. And
her friend,
the girl who,
like
she said,
her best friend.
Yeah, it was like her best friend. And she said her reason why she didn't attend the kids party was because she doesn't do kids. Okay. And I just thought that was funny because we have been discussing like villages, and, we had a conversation with one of our close friends, family at this point, about villages and if it's important to them and how important it was to us. So I just thought it was actually funny that I came across this video.
Yeah.
And I know that how you feel about your friendships and how we have kind of, grown into our friends' kids' lives. Yeah. So I just thought it was something that was worth talking about. And I just kind of wanted to see how you felt about it. And, we always talk about why a village is important. Yeah. So I just kind of want to get your input on how you feel about that first, the video. Like you don't do kids, which I don't understand. If I do understand it, but the way that we are.
Not if it's her best friend or her close friend.
Right.
Because like you may not do kids, but as your close friend or best friend, like I do your kids. Like I feel like there's an exception there, or there should be at least.
Right. There's always an exception to the rule, because as friends who didn't have kids and we were always around people that had kids, I really didn't do kids, right? Like I never had kids in my life. I hadn't held a baby up until one of our best friends had kids. So I don't understand that, because I feel like if you build a love and a relationship with one person, then like their kids are an extension of them. So you naturally kind of grow that bond with the children, even if you don't do kids. Right. It's like, I don't do kids, but when I have a child, I do kids. If I have a nephew or niece, I do kids. So that was kind of weird to me, where I was like, maybe their relationship isn't as strong as
that's what I'm saying. Like, I guess I'm just curious about the background on their friendship. Like, how close are they?
Right.
Because I have friends that like, I don't have a relationship with their kids. So like I wasn't expected to be like invited to their kids' birthday parties or whatever. But then I also have my close friends and my best friends where like I'm showing up every time. So yeah, that's weird if that's her best friend or close friend.
Yeah. And that's why I was like curious how you would feel about that. Like, how important is that to your friendships? You know what I mean? Especially like ones that you build that bond with, even if you're not that close with their kids. Like, I feel like you still kind of show up for their kids. So like, how important is that to you
that's really important.
Have a bond with?
I think that's really important. I think for me specifically, like obviously, like when you have a close friendship, your relationship with your friend is important. But I feel like when your friend makes an effort to make your child like a priority, I think that's even more important.
Right.
So yeah, that's weird. I don't.
You don't get it, right? I know it didn't resonate with me, because I was like, I didn't do kids either, but I did those, these kids at that time. So, I just didn't understand it. And then it just kind of brought me back to like why Village is important.
Yeah.
Like in just showing up for big moments, like how important that is for the kids. Like the relationship that we have with our friends' kids is like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So, and I expect them to have a similar relationship, even though like I shouldn't probably expect people to have like a relationship. But I think that's where even kind of an expectation of it, it just depends on the relationship. Like, I feel like
also, I feel like when you have kids, though, I feel like it really kind of opened your eyes to like who's really there, though.
Yeah.
In kind of a disheartening way, though, because I know for us specifically, and I thought it was just us, but I've had conversations with like coworkers and just, you know, other women that have had kids. And it kind of is the same across the board where like the people that you thought were going to be there, like didn't show up like you thought. So it kind of makes you like, wow, like, it kind of reveals like people to you once you have kids.
Yeah. And that's where I think about that all the time. I had this expectation going in, like when I had kids, like my best friends, you know, growing up, I thought they were going to be like, you know, uncles to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously with the distances, that's not really the case. But I'm also not that to their children either, unfortunately. And that's due to the distance, not effort. You know what I mean? Because they had kids after we had already moved.
I was going to say, I think you're the first one out of your friend group that had a kid, though.
Right.
So and I feel like if anybody was going to make that mark, like being that you were the first one to have kids, it should have been your friends.
Right.
And then it would have been reciprocated.
Right. And I think like for me, that kind of, I don't want to say like draws a line in the sand, but I think it does kind of put a little bit of a halt to the relationship. It's like nowhere else for it to grow because like a lot of our friends who have become family now, like part of what brought that is like the relationship they have with our kids, not only the relationship they have with us, but the love that we see that they have for our children. And I just think that like when we talk about building villages, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And I think like that also shows the amount of love that they have for us because it extends to the children. You know what I mean? And
and I have friends like outside of like our girls too.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Like for example, like my friends out here, like they don't have a relationship with my girls. And I don't have a relationship with their kids, but like, that's fine. But I guess it would just goes back to like, how close are you to that friend, you know?
Right. And I think you can still be really close with someone and not have a relationship with their kids or vice versa.
Yeah.
I just think it becomes a limit of how close you are with those people. Right. Because like we have friends now that we say like, we're family. You know what I mean? I don't even consider them friends. I just say friends because like in the literal sense, they are friends, but they are our family. But like that line kind of gets drawn where like we're friends and we could be really good friends, but we will never be that good of friends because you can't be family to me and not my children. Like it doesn't work like that, in my opinion.
Yeah. I get that. I do feel like it also depends on like when it comes to relationship with kids, I do feel like that's something that's kind of solidified like from the get-go.
Yeah. It's hard to build a relationship. Like you can't just, we have a 7-year-old and like you're trying to
you know what I mean? And you know, you being a close friend to someone, I don't think you have to be like auntie, uncle to your friends' kids, but at least show up. Like if I have a birthday party, show up. Like just little things like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I think that's where like I say expectation. And, you know, sometimes we do have these expectations. And I think I had a little bit of an expectation, but everyone's not going to be like that. I understand that. Yeah. But in the same sense, it's like you got love for me. You've known my child since, you know, X amount age. I would expect if I invited you to show up and the excuse not to be, I'm just not a kid person. Yeah. And that goes for family as well.
Yeah. Like,
that's just, it's kind of weird to me. You know what I mean? But that kind of goes to show too, like some people are only your friends when it's time to like go out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think you just kind of have to know who
yeah, I think you have
I think
friends.
That's okay.
I think you have friends for different occasions.
Yeah.
I personally think that.
You do. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like right now, all of my friends, I think, are like family, right? I don't have those friends for that occasion. Mm-hmm. So like when someone does come into my life and they are that friend for that occasion, like I know not to have an expectation for them. But you know, again, it's only going to get so close. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's kind of that line there.
Yeah. And I do think that, like I'll just use my life for an example with my two closest friends that have kids, that the two girls that I consider my best friends, they have kids, and I'm significantly more involved in one of my friends' kids than the other. And I think that just kind of, that's because of the time, or let me back up. I feel like that's because of how our relationship was like at the time that the kids were born.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the one friend that were her kids' godparents, like we were there from day one,
right,
like from birth, you know, versus my other friend who was my childhood best friend. We kind of like lost contact for a while.
Right.
And then like, you know, she had kids, and then we kind of started to build our relationship after her kids were already born. Mm-hmm. So like that relationship like wasn't solidified like from the beginning. And like I said, I think it's a little bit hard to like catch up after, you know.
But with that being said, though, you may not be like Aunt Nequa, right? But you still show up. You still show up to the birthday parties. Like, they still show up to
right. I'm still going to show up, and you know, when I can, so I'll send like birthday money here, or you know, the same thing. So
yeah, absolutely. And then that just kind of drives me into like my next question is like, how important do you think like a village is now? Because we don't really have one, and it just looks completely different. One. Yeah, we have a very small one, but one that's not all in town. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I just think about how like different our village looks now from when like we were kids. And we talk about this all the time. Like I grew up, I had 3 aunts, 2 uncles, you know what I mean? All these cousins that were the same age. If one of my aunts was watching us, like there was like 6 or 7 cousins there. And like now we have like, our kids have one cousin
who's 15 years older.
15 years older.
Yeah.
And like
times are just different. I feel like aunts aren't aunts back in the day. Grandmas aren't grandmas back in the day. Grandmas are out having fun, wanting to do this and do that. So I just feel like the dynamic is different nowadays, where back then I feel like our aunts were like old.
Right. Now, aunts is in like their late 40s. Are like
30s, you know, so it's just different. Same with grandmas. Like right. So I think that plays a big role in it. But I think village is important, and we just unfortunately have a very, very small one.
Right.
And
when I say like village, like I don't mean like a babysitter, and I don't mean like somebody to like offload like responsibility on. I just mean people to show up. You know what I mean? And like I even talk about sometimes like when our kids get photos done. Right. And you're texting like a bunch of people, and I'm like, oh, I got like one person to send this to. You know what I mean? And like, although it's my village too, I consider it's like my village that I'm bringing to the table is significantly smaller, which is way different for me because my village was huge growing up.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it is kind of a downer.
It is.
Not having that many people around. You know what I mean? Than the way that we grew up. So I don't know. I just think about that from time to time. Like our kids won't get to experience like what I experienced is like 7, 8, 9 cousins.
Yeah, there's so many cousins around. Yeah. Like again, our girls have one cousin and he's 20.
Right. And even when I had like, I think back to times when I had like birthday parties, we had so many kids there and they were all family members.
Yeah.
Like I didn't need friends. They were literally all family members. Our kids need friends. Like birthday parties didn't start happening until we started school and like they need friends to fill up these parties because we don't have a lot of family around that would be able to attend the party.
And I guess that's also because your parents had a lot of siblings that had kids. It's just me and my sister.
Yeah, that's true too. People aren't like popping out like so, 7 kids anymore.
If I had like 4 or 5 siblings and then we all had kids, then that would be different.
Whole different story.
You know what I mean? So.
And right. That's true. We both only have, I have a couple siblings. You have one. So yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I always think about the village conversation, like, especially in times like this where like we just have like holidays coming up and, different things for the kids' schools and, anything like really like big moments. And I just think about how important it is to have support for our kids and ourselves during big moments.
Yeah.
And like even us just moving away, we just kind of miss that. And I know you definitely.
Yeah, I do.
Miss that support for the big moments.
And I think we're very appreciative of the small village that we do have that's not family. And I think everybody that we consider a village of ours knows how appreciative we are because they know that's like a kind of like a sore subject for us when it comes to people for our girls. So like the fact that they're not family and they like show up for our girls the way that they do. Like, I think that means even more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's true. And I think we express that all the time, too. Like, just appreciation for them showing up and loving our kids the way that they do. So, yeah. And
it shows. It's not even because, like, we're saying that they're our village because we're just saying it. It's because the proof is in the pudding. Like if we sat Arian down right now and asked her, like, who are your favorite people? Like she's going to say, like, Veronica, Elton, Cara, Nick, Amy, Ebony. Like those are her like core people. Obviously, auntie, grandma. You know what I mean? So like, it's not even something that's just coming from us. Like the proof is in the pudding.
Right. Yeah. We're not like just creating this.
Right.
Creating this make believe village, you know what I mean?
So, no, we appreciate them a lot. So,
absolutely. And I think back of that that conversation. So you had made a post about like I don't know, you were feeling sentimental about villages at one point, and you had made a post on like Facebook about it. And I remember one of your coworkers at the time had made a comment that like having kids, you shouldn't dictate like having kids based on help.
That corny girl.
Yeah. And and I just thought that was funny because I'm like, again, village isn't like help. And that's what a lot of the comments on this video was like, oh, people just expect, you to babysit their kids and this and that. I'm like, that's not what people want at all. Yeah, I'm not looking for, I'll get a nanny if I need somebody to babysit. I'm talking about my friends and family supporting, my little makeshift family.
Yeah.
So I just thought that post was funny, or that comment was funny because like that's not what we were talking about at all. Not even one bit.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Yeah, I bet it did.
But my people came through on Facebook and argued with her. I didn't even have to.
Yeah, definitely.
Because she sounded stupid, but yeah.
And then I seen something else where they were talking about just how like grandparents are different. And we had talked about grandparents and aunts and uncles are different. And then just a lot of people like experiencing a lot of like trauma based on like their grandparents, the grandparents of their kids not being there. And I'm like, I do understand that because like grandparents aren't watching your kids the way that
they used to.
We like grew up at our grandparents' house. You know what I mean? I remember like summers where we're like with someone else.
Yeah. And
like our kids are like always with us. And I see that like a couple people were saying like different videos where they're like, we're the generation that's like breaking these generational curses. We always got McDonald's money.
Yeah.
We always got movie money. We always got to go to the store to money. We always got out to eat money. And it's just like completely different. Like I remember being like, obviously like my parents raised me, but like spending a lot of time at other people's houses. Our kids hate going to other people's houses, or at least our oldest, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't do sleepovers neither, but I remember just spending a lot of time with like other people. And I'm like, our kids hate that. And it's just like a completely different generation. But like, again, my grandmother, like, I don't even know how old my grandma was, but she was old. You know what I mean? Like, she was like, The Price is Right old. Like, she was watching like, she's watching like soap operas, like Days of Our Lives and The Price is Right in a rocking chair. So she was like old. But like now, like, you got grandparents that are in their 50s. They want to take trips. They want to go on cruises. Like, they don't want to be like babysitting a bunch of kids, especially ones that had kids at 16, 17, 18. You know what I mean? Like,
they was like, I'm done raising kids. Yeah.
And then they have multiple kids at that. You know what I mean? Like, now we're having kids in our late 20s, early 30s. Like, by the time we have grandkids, we're going to be like,
oh God,
70 years old. We're like creating the new generation of like old grandparents. You know what I mean? But it is just like completely different, because I'm like, things that like we do for our kids now is like, we got food at home, but we're ordering McDonald's. You know what I mean? But growing up, it's like we had food at home, and then that's what we had to go based off of. It's like having food at home. So I don't know, but I just thought that was interesting. An interesting take on things, that she wasn't a kid person.
Yeah, that's weird. So how did it end?
That was it. She just said she wasn't a kid person, so she didn't go to the birthday party. Okay. And her friend was mad. I don't know. It wasn't like a full of context. It was just that she wasn't a kid person, and that was that.
I wonder if that was like the kid's first birthday party. Because if not, then
it had to have been
new. Right.
Yeah, it had to have been the first birthday party, because it was like it was an issue. Okay. So had it been the third or fourth, I don't think it would be. Unless it was a new friend, then that's like a little bit different too. Right. Because if you just meet somebody, like, you may not be a kid. I may not be your kid person. You know, so that could be the big difference there. I don't know, but that's all I have, actually. I don't know. Okay. So for the wind down question today, I just wanted to ask you, do you feel the same way about building a village as you did before we had kids? Like, do you think it's as important now as you thought it was before when we were the village? Do you think it's that important to have a village now?
Yeah, I think it's important. I don't think it was important before we had kids, and I think it might be even more important now that we've kind of realized that we don't have like a huge village. Everybody needs that support, and I feel like I'm all about, all the love that we can get for our girls. So the more love that your child has, I feel like the better. So yeah, village is very important.
With that, though, right, just to piggyback off of what you're saying, do you think it's not even just like adults, right? It's the kids, too. I think you can tell the difference between like kids that were around other kids than versus kids being like around adults.
Because like with the way they act?
Yeah. For instance, like our oldest, I feel like if adults are around, she's like completely comfortable. Let another kid come around, she like doesn't know how to interact or make friends or even...
Yeah, she's used to, or she's comfortable around adults because she's not around many kids.
Right.
Well, I mean, just at school, she's,
Now, but I mean, before, I feel like she could have a full conversation with an adult, but then like...
I remember when she, pre-K, I remember her teacher, Miss Chelsea. Pre-K was the first time she was ever like outside of the house. I remember her teacher said that Arian was more comfortable having a conversation with her and Miss Minnie versus like the other kids in her class.
Right. She would like follow around the teachers and like try to have conversations with them rather than interacting or playing with the kids. So yeah. And I think second child is a little bit different, just kind of bringing them, because like Raylan she's around Arian. She's around Arian's friends now. She's around the other kids at school. So she's like interacting with kids more. Yeah. But that first child syndrome it's awkward. Like the first day of school, I'm nervous. Like, how's she going to make friends? Now, child number 2, I'm like, she's going to be fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? She knows how to interact and play with other kids. So I do think it's important to have your child around other kids.
Yeah. And I think we tried to do that because Arian was at home with you all her life until pre-K, but we we made it a priority to get her out of the house and get her around other kids. When we went to like those, like the, what's that called? The romp and roll and like just the different activities just to get her kind of accustomed to being around other kids. So that was important to us because we knew that she didn't have exposure to other kids.
Right. But yeah, that's all I have for today. I want to thank everybody for watching, joining another episode. We'll be back with more. Peace.